Welcome to the Effortless English Show with the world's #1 English teacher, AJ Hoge, where AJ's more than 40 million students worldwide finally learn English once and for all, without the boring textbooks, classrooms, and grammar drills. Here's AJ with a quick piece to help you learn to speak fluent English effortlessly.
Good is good enough. That's our topic today. I'm AJ Hoge, author of Effortless English. Learn to speak English like a native. And you can speak English like a native. You can speak English fluently. You can speak English powerfully. You can speak English effortlessly when you join my VIP program. Commit, don't quit. Commit, don't quit. At effortlessenglishclub.com. You will. Join my VIP program. Just do the lessons every day. That's all you need to do. You don't need to think about it. You don't need to worry about it. There's no stress. Just join, keep going, and you will succeed. Now let's talk about success. We're going to talk about that today. What is good enough? I have some good news for you. And really, in many ways, today's topic is about how to have a successful life. What does that mean? We'll talk about that too. What does it mean? What is a successful life? Or how to have a lot of success in your life, while at the same time being happy. I think that for me, success needs both of these elements, both of these parts. To me, even if someone is very successful, meaning they are excellent, they're very good at something, or if it's a competition, maybe they win the competition a lot. But if they're really unhappy, are they successful? They're successful in that one area, but in terms of life, can we call them, successful? I think not, right? On the other hand, if someone is excellent and also quite happy, then I think that we can certainly talk about them being generally successful, right? Meaning in their life in general. Usually people talk about success, right? I want to be successful. And most people who use that word are talking about money or a, job, career. But I think we need to take a bigger look at it. And I've got some good news for you. You don't need to be a workaholic. You don't need to be super stressed about this. Not necessary at all. Hello to everyone who's watching live. Welcome. So the title of today's show, Good is Good Enough. I'm going to give you some ideas, strategies, a mindset that's quite different than most self-help books, quite different than most motivational speakers, quite different than most successful people, what they will tell you. Because generally what you find in self-help books or like success gurus like Tony Robbins, he doesn't like that word, but anyway. But what they're really talking about, a high level of excellence, greatness, right? We see a lot of this, greatness. There's a famous business book called Good to Great, greatness. And the idea, the message these people will tell you is that, being good is not enough, right? You need to be great, right? And so there's this idea that you must be great. If you have a business, you have to have a great business. If you're doing a sport, you have to be great at the sport, right? It means a very, very high level of excellence, a high level of success. Let's think of this like percentages, okay? Because really when we're talking about greatness or being good or failing, it's usually compared to other people, right? Right? In school, we get grades, right? We fail or we succeed on a test in school. This is a message we get in school a lot. So failing is what? I think for most people a D or an F. Right? A D or an F, which is, I believe, 60%, right? 60% is a D. I think you have to get when I was in school, usually a C was 70%. If you got 70% correct on a test, you got a C score. That was considered kind of the lowest level of success. Not really good, but kind of so-so. and below 70% failing, a D or an F. In life, we kind of think in similar ways, right? Where when people say success, they're really, what they mean is they're comparing themselves to others. And when we think of greatness, someone is great, a company is great, what do we mean? Well, great compared to all of the others, right? And kind of thinking about it, it really means like you're in the top 0.1% or even the top 0.01%. What does that mean? It means out of, if we have a group of 10,000 people, you're number one, right? A group of 10,000 people, you're number one. That's 0.01%. 0.1%, a group of 1,000 people, right? You're number one. So let's say in tennis, you play tennis. If you're great at tennis, then you know, if you just randomly, we get a group of 10,000 people, you would be the top one. You'd be number one. You could beat all of the other 10,000 tennis players. So that's a quite high level of skill. It's a very high level of success, right? You're comparing yourself to, 10,000 others, and you would be on top. So that's kind of greatness. That's hard to do. It's very, very tough. You need a lot of work, a lot of discipline, a lot of hours, in truth, a lot of years to achieve that level of greatness. You'll probably also need at least some natural ability. Now, to be very, very, very top, like top in the world, you need, a lot of natural ability in most things. But say top, 0.01%, you're still going to need a good amount of natural ability, talent. But mostly what you need is a lot of work. You'll see different books, different people, they'll claim 10,000 hours, right, to be great. So what does this mean for your English? So for your English, that would be native speaker level, right? That means when you speak English, you sound almost exactly like I do, or another native speaker, right? It means you're not translating at all. It's the English is flowing out, coming out completely naturally. You're not thinking in your language and translating, not at all. It means that you instantly understand when I speak, when other people speak English. It means your pronunciation is almost exactly like mine or like a native speaker's. So it's a very high level of excellence, right? That takes a long time to achieve. It's very high level. It's hard work. Lots and lots and lots of hours. You need big motivation to do this. And you need a lot of time and you need a lot of energy to achieve that highest level. And that's fine, because many people want to do that, and they do, and that's great. But the good news is this: you don't have to do that. It's not necessary. You do not need to be great. I think most people, myself certainly, I think most people in the world, good is good enough. What does that mean? You don't have to be great. If you're just good, you will have plenty of success. Lots and lots of success and happiness in your life. Being good is much easier. Let's say good is top 1%. So that means you're out of 100 people, you're number one, right? Top 1%. To be in the top 1% of businesses, it's not easy, but it's much easier than being top 10,000. 10 times easier, maybe even more than 10 times easier, I think. It's much easier. You need a lot fewer hours to be good at something. So I'll give you an example. Let's say I'm doing jiu-jitsu. That's a nice example. It's a sport. Sports are often very clear. We can see the idea when we look at sports. So with a sport, to be, let's say, great at jiu-jitsu, that would be like black belt level. 10 years minimum for most people. There are a few people who do it faster, but most people, it's at least 10 years, 10 to 15 years of lots and lots of practice, lots and lots of discipline to reach that level of greatness. However, to be good at jiu-jitsu, to be good enough, maybe you only need 2 years. That's what I would say. In 2 years, you would be top 1% in terms of fighting skill compared to all men. We'll just make that group. Because, most people do not do any training in fighting at all. Okay, so even with just a year of fighting training, jiu-jitsu or boxing, something like that, you could fairly quickly be good enough to beat, to win, to survive against, 99% of men in the world. That's very good. And right, so the level of effort to get that level of success, you only need 1 year. To become really, really, really high level, then you need another 9, right? It's that last little bit, that last 1%, right, requires a huge amount of effort. And in many times in life, you don't need to do it. Same with your English level, okay? If you do a strong effort for 1 year or a couple of years, right? So that means several hours a day of English, several hours a day, especially listening and doing some speaking and a lot of reading, a lot of listening, and then eventually speaking. In a couple of years, you would be fluent, right? Meaning you would be able to communicate well on most topics that interest you, on most general topics and most life, in all the common life situations. You would be able to talk about almost anything that you want, and other people would understand you easily, and you would understand them. You would not be great, right? Your accent, you might have an accent. You probably would have an accent. But your pronunciation would be good enough. You would still be clear. People would understand you. Even with your accent, they still would understand you. Sometimes you would hear some words you don't know, but you would understand the main ideas almost always. Okay, so that's good. For most of you, that's probably enough. You don't need to suffer and suffer and suffer 8 more years or 5 more years to become perfect, right? Most of you don't need to be that high level of English, perfect, exactly like a native speaker. Most of you don't need that. So that's good news for you. It means that you need less time to become very good enough for you, good enough to travel, good enough for studying, good enough for business, good enough for general conversations, good enough for all the things you want to use English for. And then after that, you can relax and just, if you want to continue improving, of course, you can, and just do it for fun. Great, but no stress, no worry. You're good enough already. And I think this is a very healthy way to think in life, because the problem with trying to be great is it creates a huge amount of stress, right? People who need to be great. On one hand, we admire them, right? We respect them a lot. Of course we do, because it's a very tough thing to do. But on the other hand, their life is not balanced, right? People who want to be great in business, for example, many times they spend so many hours working that they don't spend enough time with their children. So they're great at business, but not very good as fathers or mothers, right? And I think most of us know that's quite a sad thing. That's sad, right? Because we are human beings. We want to be whole, complete human beings, right? The problem with, to focus too much on one thing, yes, you can become very, very, very good, great. But on the other hand, your life becomes super unbalanced. You're great at business, but maybe you're unhealthy. Maybe your relationships are no good. You're stressed out, right? Your other areas of your life are very unbalanced. And often in life, instead of being great at one thing, if you just balance these big areas of your life and you're good in all of them, you will have a very high level of happiness, of feeling peaceful and calm and happy. So I just think too many people, maybe it's the school programming, maybe it's just I don't know what it is, but I think too often we get this idea in our mind. We get this belief that we must be great. We must be great. I've got to be great. I've got to be super, 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 super fantastic. But you don't in most things. Same with business. Okay, yes, you could work, and go crazy and become a very, very, very high level business person, multi-millionaire. But is it worth it? Maybe if you just make $1 million and relax and have a lot of time for your family, for your children, for your husband and wife, to exercise, to do other activities, maybe you would be much, much, much happier. Maybe you don't even need $1 million. Maybe you would be much, much, much happier just with, a nice income and more time to do many different things in life, right? So this is a decision. It's not a right or wrong answer, but I think a lot of people that we don't need to feel bad. We don't need to feel bad if we are not great. We don't need to feel bad if we don't want to be great. It's totally fine just to say, I just want to be good enough. Just good enough is fine. Right? In some things in life, maybe you're not even good. Maybe you're just so-so, and that's okay too. Right? Like a really good example for me of this is golf. I enjoy golf. I like because socially it's fun to do it with family or friends. But I'm not good at all. I'm terrible. But yeah, I'm not even so-so. I'm bad. Okay? I'm really, really bad at golf. But you know what? I don't care, and so I enjoy it. Doesn't matter. I'm just doing it for enjoyment. I don't need to be good. Why do I need to be good at golf? I'm not a professional golfer. I like it, but it's not necessary. I can enjoy the game without being good. And this is, some of you maybe play golf, and you may know some people play golf. They become so serious about it. Yeah, they're not professionals. They're just doing it for fun. But there are many golfers that become so serious about the game, and they must get better, that they stop enjoying it. The game becomes stressful. They begin to become stressed out by golf. They make a mistake and they get really angry. They make a bad shot. They get really upset. And maybe they get better, but their enjoyment gets worse. Right? And it's just a game. It's crazy. Now, some people do enjoy getting better and practicing, and just they enjoy that, and that's good. Like, I enjoy jiu-jitsu. I want to get better. It's fun to try to get better. It's a mental challenge. It's like a game. It's like chess or something. But on the other hand, I will never be a black belt, I'm sure. And I don't care. Doesn't matter. It's good enough. I'm enjoying it. I'm getting better gradually, and that is fine. So I guess I'm just saying to you that think about it in your life. Don't automatically feel you must always be really good at something. Don't automatically feel you must be excellent. There's in the American military, maybe it might be the Navy SEALs, they have a phrase, if something is worth doing, it's worth doing well. I think this is probably a general idiom in English, actually. The idea is if you're going to do it, then you should be good at it. And I think that's not true. There are a lot of things we can do. It's not necessary to be good at all. So good is good enough. In most areas of life, if you're just good and if you're good at making money, not great, just good. If you have good health, if you have good relationships, you're going to be a very, very happy person. Probably more happy than someone who's great in those areas and terrible in others. All right, so that's it. Just a general thought about relaxing a bit. A lot of you need to do this with your English because I know a lot of you stress out too much. You get too stressed about your English because it's not perfect. You make a mistake and you get really upset about it. You can't think of a good word. You get the right word. I know this word and I forgot it, and you get so stressed out and upset about it. You talk to somebody, you can't understand what they're saying sometimes. You get really upset about it. Relax. Yes, continue to get better, but relax. You don't need to be perfect. It's not necessary to be perfect. Just be good, and that's good enough for you. That you only need a couple years. You don't need your, forever. Try to relax and enjoy things more, and then you'll get good. You'll get good enough. All right, let's get into our comments and questions. Live on YouTube, as usual. Noah Islam says, I totally agree with you. Good, yes. I'm glad. Vedant says, my English is perfect, but I need to learn how to pronounce it. So, in other words, you're saying your vocab or your fluency is perfect, but not your pronunciation. Just, you can improve your pronunciation. That's all. It doesn't need to be exactly perfect. Just clear. Yeah, Osgurk says, I understand my enemy is perfectionism. That's really what we're talking about, right? Because mostly I can't say good is good enough, so I don't want to speak English unless it's perfect. I'm ashamed and nervous, thus my speaking is not improving. See, that's a good point, because when we have this idea we need to be perfect, then it prevents us from taking action, right? It prevents us from, and if we don't take action, we don't get better. It's a strange cycle. Again, I'll use sports as an example because it's so clear, like jiu-jitsu. If I had this mentality in jiu-jitsu, then I would never do it, right? Because I'm a white belt. I'm not good. I'm terrible. So if I say, I can't do jiu-jitsu until I'm perfect. Well, how am I? First of all, no one's perfect ever. Even the very best are not perfect. They still lose. So it just means then you never do it. It's kind of it ends up becoming an excuse to avoid failure. Right? To never do anything. I see this a lot with business. A lot of people, they talk about starting a business, right? But they never do. And many times they think, or it's an excuse, I think, actually. But anyway, they say that, they need the business plan to be better. The marketing needs to be better. They need more money to invest. There's always something that's not good enough, so they never do it. The people who usually have more success, they just start the business, and then they make mistakes, and they figure out things, and they learn as they go, as they're doing it. Same in jiu-jitsu, right? How do you learn? You go to class, you learn techniques, and then you lose and you lose and you lose when you're fighting other guys. And little by little, you learn something. Like last Saturday, I fought. It was like the first time in 3 years I fought against a couple other people. Of course, I lost badly, but I learned things. Right? When you lose, when you fail, you remember it. Okay, and you're like, I gotta figure. Why did I fail? And then you'll figure it out, and next time you'll do better. Right? So I would lose, I would tap, and then I would, after class, I thought, well, what did I do wrong? And then I thought, oh yeah, that's right, I forgot to do this, I forgot to do that. And then so next time I'll try to remember those points, and I'll get a little better. Anya says, good is good enough. It would be my motto. It's kind of my motto in life, too. It's a very Taoist attitude. Good is good enough. It feels very Taoist to me. Good is good enough. It also sounds like a James Bond movie title. I mean, that could be the next James Bond movie. Good is good enough, Mr. Bond. Ayub Saad says, I used to be so obsessed about being perfect, but a couple of days ago I watched some videos from Wayne Dyer. Oh, good guy. He helped me see so much, though I still suffer from this problem. I'm getting over it. Yeah, and that's the kind of the, it's a sign. If you're getting stressed out and upset, that's a sign that maybe you need to relax about it and you're trying to be too perfect. If you're not stressed, if you're relaxed and you're feeling good, it's totally fine to get better. Of course, we all like getting better. It's actually enjoyable. It becomes not enjoyable when we become obsessed, like Ayub says, when we become super stressed and upset about it. This is where it becomes a negative thing. Fearless Buffender says, please tell me about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu belts. Okay, for adults, the rank, it starts at white, is beginner. Then next is blue. Then next is purple. Then brown. Then black. There are different levels within each one, but those are the main belts. Vargas Soto says, what a piece of advice, AJ. Humans are always looking for perfection, but all we need is to balance most aspects of our lives and character. Thank you. Greetings from Colombia. Yeah, that word balance, I think often balance is more important than perfection. Right? Like, I'm good at business. I'm not great. I'm not even good. I'm not even good at jiu-jitsu, but I like it. I don't care. I enjoy it. I have good health. Great health? Maybe not. I'm not like a super athlete, but it's pretty good. So I could look at lots of different areas of my life and say this. In fact, I decided when I first started my business, I decided good is good enough. I'm not trying to build a big company. I don't want to build a big company because I knew that to succeed at a high level, then I would need employees. I would need to work. My whole life would be focused on work. I did not want that. I wanted the opposite. I wanted more freedom. So I decided from the beginning, I just want a small company, no employees, simple, just make enough money to live comfortably. I don't need to be living in big houses or anything. So I'm glad and it was a good decision for me because far less stressful. Like now I have zero stress about money or business. If I wanted to, if right now I wanted to change that, if I decided, I want to make, $50 million, I would become very stressed. I'd have to work constantly. I would not have time for my children or exercise or many other things. So it's not worth it. Okay, don't spam my comments, guys. Vladislav says, in Russian we have the phrase, the best is the enemy of the good. We have this in English too. We say, the perfect is the enemy of good. So it's quite similar. Interesting. That in Russia as well. Ilana Khan says, probably is better to find an equilibrium, nice word, in our life and try to be the best version of ourselves. Good enough. Yep, equilibrium again is the idea of balance. Right. Okay, do not keep repeating the same comment. I'm going to put you in timeout for now instead of banning you. But don't do it again. Hey, Ani LeBlanc in Armenia. I just, last time you mentioned there's a war there. I didn't even know, honestly. So, is this George Soros causing problems again? I know he's causing problems in Belarus now. Him and his people. Waleed Libya says, the best works are the most durable, not the best. That's a good point, that often, right, the things that last a long time are not necessarily perfect, but they're, it's a good point, like they're sustained. Like if we, like again, I know I keep using jiu-jitsu as an example. Let's use running as an example. Let's say running. So I'm 52 years old. I want to go out and run. If I try to be perfect, what am I going to do? I'm going to try to make my time faster, and train super, super hard. Could I do this? Yes, I can, and I could. But I'm more likely to get injured, much more likely to get a serious injury, and then I have to stop. Right? On the other hand, if I'm a lot more relaxed about it, very gradual, kind of take it go easy, a lot more easy, run a little slower, more relaxed. Okay, maybe not as fast. Maybe I will improve more slowly, but it's softer on my body, so I can continue going and going and going. No injuries. I can continue running, for my whole life. So, right, that's a good point. Venus Virgo says, what is nonplussed? Do you know what it means? Yeah, nonplussed means basically not upset, super calm. It's kind of like the idea of equanimity. It's another long word, but nonplussed. So like, let's say there's a situation, someone comes up and screams at you in your face. They're like, yeah, like some crazy person on the street. And you just you don't react. You just stay calm and look at them. Doesn't bother you at all. You're nonplussed. Noah Islam says, I always say this to my parents. I think this is the real secret of happiness, to feel that it's okay to be good and you don't need to be perfect in every detail in your life. Right. Because a lot more happiness comes from just accepting and enjoying what is in your life already and being grateful instead of trying to get more, better. Exactly. Oh, David Silva in Brazil here. He says it's 3:22 a.m. Wow, so you're either you get up really early or you stay up late. I'm not sure which. Welcome, David. Yeah, I mean, this is a good question. Ayub Saad says, some students in my country commit suicide. They kill themselves because they didn't get the greatest grades in their class. This is where it becomes, literally, really insane, crazy, right? Where people will kill themselves for not being number one or for not being super, super great. Or even just for failing. Right? Like someone starts a business and then the business fails and they kill themselves. That's crazy. It's crazy. Or like you said, some students, they're so brainwashed thinking that this is the most important thing in life is to get a high test score. And, everybody doesn't get a high test score. There can only be one person at the top. That's just, right? Logic, rationally. There can only be one number one. And so everybody else is less than that. So it is totally crazy to kill yourself or to become super depressed because you're not number one or because you failed, right? Especially failing at business or failing at a test, right? It's insane. Life is more important. Life is not a test. Life is not a business. It sucks. No one enjoys it. It's normal to feel kind of sad or upset a bit, but right, there's a level that's good and a level that's crazy, and it is very sad that people become so upset. They're losing what the good parts of life, and by being so crazy about things that are, ultimately not so important. Yeah, Shukrat Shokir Jonov says, being a perfectionist is extremely stressful. Yes, because you're constantly worrying about making everything perfect. Sometimes you have to admit your abilities instead of wasting your time you won't get. Yes, I'll give you another example of a little example from jiu-jitsu from me that 3 years ago when I started it, and then I took a break. I stopped. And I remember when I would fight, it's called sparring, and I would fight other guys, I would go so hard. I thought I had to win, right? Or at least I thought I can't lose. I can't let them beat me, right? There was this belief I had in my head that I had to get their respect, right? And maybe I felt that also because I was older than most of them, So I felt like I have to earn the respect of the other guys. So I would fight so hard, and then they would fight me very hard, and it was very stressful. I got injuries, got really tired. And then I've had a break, 3 years. Now I just started again. And then Saturday, like I said, I did sparring. I did fighting for the first time in a long time. And completely different, very interesting. This time, like in my mind, I'm thinking I'm probably never going to be a black belt. I don't need to prove anything. I'm doing this for self-defense. I don't need to beat any of these guys. It doesn't matter if they always beat me. It doesn't matter, right? I'm just going to try. I'm just doing it to learn. I just want to get better. Even if I'm bad at jiu-jitsu, I'm compared to other jiu-jitsu people, I'm still going to be really good compared to the average person with no training at all. That's why jiu-jitsu is that powerful. Someone with a little training, if you don't know jiu-jitsu, you're in trouble if someone else does, right? You're in big trouble because it's just so effective. And the same is true for other things like boxing and wrestling. So anyway, I realized, so when this time I was fighting, I was just very relaxed, very relaxed. I would use a little effort and then relax. If I got in a bad position, I didn't stress out. I would just relax my body and be patient. And it was so much better. Like psychologically, emotionally, it was better. I enjoyed it myself much, much more. And what's interesting, because I relaxed, the other guy also relaxed. Like I wasn't fighting him so hard, so he didn't need to fight me so hard. So the other guy relaxed more too. So physically on my body, it was much, much easier. Right? Like no injuries. I was breathing a little heavy at the end, but not exhausted. And I kind of realized it was interesting to realize this. It's like so many times it's in our mind. It's us doing it. Like 3 years ago, I was creating all the stress. I created it because I thought I had to win or I thought I couldn't lose. And then this time, by just changing my mindset, it completely changed the experience. Right? Just all in my head. Just the change of attitude suddenly made everything easier. Right? And you can do the same with your English. Instead of stressing out, I got to get better. Oh, I made a mistake. Oh, I can't make mistakes. Oh, and right, it's very stressful. If you just kind of relax and say, I don't care. If I make a mistake, I make a mistake. I'm just going to continue to listen and continue reading. Mostly, I just want to enjoy English every day. You'll still improve. You'll still get better. But it will be much, much easier and so much more enjoyable. Cleefy, good to see you. Cleefy says, hi, coach. Nice to see you again. Thanks for the last challenge. Oh, yeah, we got to get back to that. I lost 10 kilograms, no medicines. Fasting is my lifestyle. Excellent. Exercise becomes my current habit. Yep, I've been focused on exercise and changing my diet recently. I'll talk about it more. We're doing some of the Ayurveda stuff that Lauren suggested and getting some very nice results, I must say. Feeling very good. Okay, let's see. Yeah, Salamazaki says, I think success takes a lot of time. It does. Maybe you'll fail sometimes. If you try, you'll succeed like me. I'm speaking English. Yes. Well, success of any kind takes some time, right? But to be good takes much less time than being great. Being great takes a huge amount of time. Like 10 years or more to be great at something for most of us. It takes a giant amount of time and effort. To be good is a lot easier. Why is the pronunciation course not available? It is available. My pronunciation, let's check the website, make sure there's no problems on the website. But I think the pronunciation course is totally available. Go down to the bottom of my website, pronunciation course, click. There it is. Click. I'll take that option, please. Click. Yep, it's available, guys. EffortlessEnglishClub.com. Pronunciation course. No problem. Get it. If you're wanting to improve your pronunciation, get nice clear pronunciation, then effortlessenglishclub.com. Okay. Where's your coffee? I'm reducing my coffee, though. I was doing too much. Pam C, nice. Thank you very much for the comment. Oh, okay. Elvis Mata says, I've been following you for many years, since many years ago when I heard your content on Link. Nice. Always happy to talk about Link. But this is the first time I have the pleasure to catch you online. Thanks a lot for what you do from Mexico. Thank you, Elvis. That's very nice. I'm glad. And I'm glad you found me on Link. I'm a big fan of Link and Steve Kaufman. And his son, Mark, too. Yeah, cool. See, like my son Kodsi says, I gave myself 2 years just listening to English. Now I can understand everything you talk about. There you go. And see, that's stress. That's low stress. If my son's just decided, okay, 2 years, I'll just relax and listen. 2 years ago, probably could not understand a lot, and now understands everything I say. That's a great example. And then now, if you want to start speaking, just have the same relaxed approach, the same attitude, right? Go ahead and start chatting with people if you want to, but no stress, make mistakes. It's no big deal. No big deal. David Silva says, coffee is good, but we must do a moderate amount. Yeah, that's good advice. Mayar Princess says, can you show us the steps how to get any course? Well, it's easy. If you're watching on the screen, you see my website, effortlessenglishclub.com. Just go there to that site, Effortless English Club. That's my homepage. Go to the bottom of the website. There's all the courses there's a list. Just click which one you want. Very simple. Hi, I'm from middle nowhere. Enjoying English, says Bal Chetri. Okay, good. It's the power of the internet. Doesn't matter if you're in the middle of nowhere. Can I understand Ebonics accent? Ebonics is kind of like, African American accent. I think, first of all, I think it's bullshit because there's more than one, right? All black people don't speak the same. And I'll tell you, I'm from the South, so black people in the countryside in the South don't speak the same as someone in the city in California. So it's the same for white people, okay? They're not all the same. Can I understand them? Mostly. Mostly. Depending, again. So I'll understand. I grew up in Georgia, so Georgia, yes. Someone from the city in, Los Angeles, still probably, because of movies, right? So we hear these different accents. Like, can I understand a New Yorker? Can I understand the New York accent? Yes, I can. Can I understand the Boston accent? Yes, I can. Can I understand a Louisiana accent? Pretty much. Mostly. But it's because of movies, because I've heard these accents in movies enough that I can understand. Probably the hardest accents for me are non-American ones, like Scottish. A very strong Scottish accent I find very difficult because I I don't listen to those. I don't watch a bunch of Scottish movies. So that, and sometimes maybe even a very strong Irish accent would be very tough for me. But most of the American ones are no problem. How do I study business English? Asked Johnson Julie. Get my business English course. Same website, effortlessenglishclub.com. I've got a very good business English course. I would start with that course. It's called Business English Conversations. It's on my website, effortlessenglishclub.com. Jose Casillas says, I always keep your book in my car. Amazing book. Nice. Thank you. Enjoy. Effortless Language Learning says, I'm from Uzbekistan. How can I explain to people that grammar is not the main part of the language acquisition? When I tell them, how do you explain it? I find that I find that maybe talking about babies sometimes is helpful. How babies and how small children learn a language, like learning Uzbek, I guess, right? So say, your children, your Uzbeki children, when they're babies, when they're 1, when they're 2, when they're 3 years old, do they study Uzbek grammar? I would probably know. Most of them know. But do they still learn to speak fluently? Yes, right? They're speaking fluently. They speak fluently their own language before they go to school, right? So it's the same with American children. They learn English, and they never study grammar until much, 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 much later, right? When they're totally, completely fluent, right? I mean, depends on the child, but certainly by age, let's say 5, most children are fluent. Certainly by 7, they're fluent, and they have never studied grammar, but they use it mostly correctly by that time. Like for myself, really studying grammar, I think that I was in high school, maybe middle school, but I'm pretty sure I only remember high school studying any kind of grammar seriously, right? So that means I was like 15 years old. Obviously, I was completely fluent by then. I was already pretty decent at writing by then. So I could do all of those things with zero grammar study. Vladislav says, I saw a video with 2 Scottish men using an elevator. I know the video you're talking about. It's funny. In this elevator, you tell the voice the number of the floor you need to get to. The system couldn't recognize what they said. Yeah, it's a funny little video. I've seen it too. I also, what are they talking about? Mastermind says, hi AJ, I've been watching your YouTube for a long time. It's really an honor to be one of your followers. Well, thank you. That's very nice. Thank you. Asma says, Spanish also has different accents. When I change the teacher, I lose a little bit. Should we have one teacher to learn? Yeah, Spanish, right, it does. No, you can do a variety. You can just listen, it's totally fine. You could listen to some. There's different ways to do it. There's not one way, okay? But I think, first of all, you probably would think, well, which country is most important? Like Spanish, there's a big difference between, well, not big, but there's a difference between Spain Spanish, Mexican Spanish, Colombian Spanish, and Argentinian Spanish, and Cuban Spanish. Okay, so the first thing you ask is, well, who am I going to talk to probably, right? Are you planning to travel to Spain? Well, probably listen to more people from Spain. Are you planning to go to Mexico? Then, again, you'd focus more on Mexican Spanish. If you're looking for more general, like very, I'll say neutral, but kinds of Spanish that a lot of people understand. If you want Latin American, probably Colombian. This is what everyone tells me, that the Colombians have kind of the most clear, understandable Spanish in Latin America. Right? That I believe that even in Mexico, they sometimes use Colombians in certain TV positions because they have that very clear. But on the other hand, like in Argentina, they're very famous for having kind of a little bit of a strange accent, a bit of a strong accent in Spanish, and Cuba also. Right. So first of all, just aside, and then you could mix. You could do some Mexican Spanish, some Colombian Spanish, and some Spain Spanish if you're not sure. Right. Just like in English, you can listen to some Americans, and you can listen to some British people, some English, and you could listen to some Australians. That's totally fine. You can do that. You can mix it. But you can also focus on one if you know that I'm really interested in America. I like American movies. I want to travel to America. You can focus on American English, and most of the time is also okay. So there are no rules about it. No need to worry about it too much. Vladislav says, my cousin studies Spanish. He tells me the main problem with Spanish is they talk too fast. They do. And they don't make pauses between words. Yep. They say the whole sentence is one word. Yep. Yes. This is the main problem with Spanish for people learning it. I had that experience as well. It depends on certain Spanish speakers, certain areas in the world. They speak very, very, very fast. In some places, a little more slowly. Like I found in Barcelona, which they'll still... Anyway, we'll avoid the political part about that and just say, like my friend Oscar, he doesn't speak super fast. It's not so bad. And I actually found when I traveled to Barcelona that most of the people, it wasn't so fast. It was fairly easy to understand them. And even in a lot of northern Spain, like when I did the Camino, not too bad. But I've heard, people have told me that in southern Spain that the people speak super, 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 super quickly. And I've heard audios of native speakers from many different countries. And yes, this is probably the big challenge for people learning Spanish. It's just, it does sound like this. The whole sentence is one word. Very fast. Okay. Jorge says, I'm from Colombia. The accents depend on each region, like most countries. Makes sense. Makes sense. Can you recommend studying websites, watching Spanish movies with subtitles, says Condemir? I think you can probably on YouTube find some with subtitles. I haven't done much Spanish in a long time, so I don't remember websites with movies with subtitles. I think a lot of if you go to American sites, this could be helpful, or British even, but I think especially American, because in America we have a lot of Spanish speakers. But of course the main language is English. So there's a lot of, on like say American Amazon or just Mexicans living in America, things like that. You can find Spanish content, Spanish audios and movies, but they'll have the English subtitles. They'll do that a lot if they're targeting Americans. So that might be helpful too. Like I used to watch this one on, did it have English subtitles? I watched this Mexican show on, I think it was Netflix. It was about a soccer team. I can't remember the name of it. It was pretty good. Warrior says, Spanish is easy. I'm a native speaker of Spanish. That's why it's easy. I can't imagine all I know with grammar. Yep. But not joking. For English speakers, Spanish is probably the easiest language to learn. I can't think of an easier one. It's not necessarily easy, but it's easier. Yeah, like Matteo says, Portuguese native speakers can understand Spanish easily. The problem is the fast way of talking. I've heard that. Actually, I've talked to my Brazilian, one of my Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu instructors, the guy I interviewed recently, Thiago, says he can understand a good amount of Spanish. Jesus Eduardo Martinez Andraca says, I have been listening to your podcast for a year. I've improved a lot. Now I try every day to hear you. AJ, also because I want to imitate your philosophy of life. Thank you, teacher. Thank you. That's very nice. Thank you very much. Okay, a few more. Muhammad Obi says, I joined 7 months ago, and I have improved a lot. Congratulations. Keep going. Okay. I heard a baby in the other room. Okay, Venus says, when I came to America, my first time, they seemed to be talking really fast, but then I started taking it more easily. I mean, of course, when you're first learning a language, they all seem fast. But, of course, as you get better, you understand faster, it feels slower. However, there are certain countries or languages that people speak fast, more quickly. Right? Like, so I can compare Spanish and Japanese. They're both foreign languages for me. And in fact, Japanese is more difficult for an English speaker. Yet, definitely Japanese people speak more slowly in general than Spanish speakers, for sure. Even though Spanish is easier for me, I can definitely understand it more easily. If I read it, I can understand it. I read Spanish decently. Pretty good. But listening, it's very, very fast compared to Japanese people, where I cannot read Japanese at all, not really, and my level's much lower, but still, I can pick out the words. Right? It doesn't feel fast to me. So there's definitely just certain languages and certain countries that they speak quite quickly. And I think Spanish is one, and I think Italian is another one. Fernando Bam Bam asks, what's the next book in the book club? I don't know. Well, let's see. We just finished a nonfiction book, so usually we alternate. So it would be a fiction book next. I have to look at my list. I have a list of different suggestions and ideas that I had to. Let's think. I like things that are a little bit short. The Old Man and the Sea, that's the one that's been on my list a long time. We could do that. I don't know. It's kind of it's The Old Man and the Sea, that's Hemingway. It's a subtle book, I would say. A subtle story. Subtle. S-U-B-T-L-E. Meaning it's not super action, right? It's not like big fights and things. It's an old man goes into the ocean and he goes fishing and he catches a fish. Okay? So it's kind of deep, I think, the ideas and the thoughts, but I'm not sure if it'll be a good one for us to do. Anyway, we'll think about it. If you have a book suggestion, remember, for fiction, especially for fiction, Fahrenheit 451, good suggestion, Vladislav. Send me that same suggestion on Gab, please, because, another we're really big. We do a lot of these dystopian books, don't we? We did Animal Farm. We did Brave New World. We could do Fahrenheit 451. It's a sort of this similarly negative. Negative's not the right word. Pessimistic. Alut says, it's been 5 months since that I didn't receive notification of your videos. Oh, well, that's YouTube, because I've done a lot of videos in the last 5 months. So for some reason, you're just not getting the notifications. The Doors of Perception, Yotzen says. Now, that's nonfiction. It's a very interesting book, though. I'll put it on my list for nonfiction. That would be an interesting one too. I don't know. Some of these are very, very red-pilled, or I'm not sure everybody could quite handle some things. I'm learning. I've recently posted some things on Facebook, and a lot of people can't handle it. So we'll see. Ozma says, I like The Alchemist so much. Yeah, that's a nice. Something like that is probably better. A little more positive and motivational and inspiring. I think those in general is better. You know, I think we did. It was important. It was important to read and study and think about Brave New World and Animal Farm, because we're living it now. It's right now we're living it. The endless propaganda and lies of the media and just on and on and on. And most people are still, even people who did the book club with me, now they comment on Facebook, they're still clueless. They have no idea. But anyway, it's pretty negative. It's depressing. Go back, watch those. I don't think we need to focus on that forever, right? In general, it's fine to focus on certain terrible things in the world and certain terrible people and what they're doing. And it's very important to see the techniques being used on you, so you can at least see the lies. We don't always know the truth, but we at least know the lies. But then you have to just let it go and do something positive in your life, right? Because a lot of people just endlessly focus on the problem. Oh my God, did you see what they did again today? Oh my God, now this, right? Like this stupid China virus, yeah, it's ridiculous. It's stupid, but I'm not going to focus on it every single day. Why? What's the point, right? People who are awake, they already are awake. People who want to be afraid, they will continue to be afraid. There's really nothing more to say about it. So the question is, what do you do with your life now? Right? Let's focus on something positive and building things and doing things, and not just cry about the problems forever. So that's why I don't want to continue doing too many of those books. So maybe Fahrenheit 451, it's kind of interesting. I'll think about it. 1984, Tan Ma suggests, probably not. We did Animal Farm. I think Animal Farm covers the same general ideas from Orwell in a much shorter, more clear way. 1984 is a longer story. It's also very depressing. And, yeah. Annie LeBlanc says, I'm awake mostly due to AJ. I'm thankful for that. Well, that's great, Annie. Thank you. Effortless Language Learning says, what do you think about audiobooks like yours, which were created by non-native speakers? If you're for English learning, I don't recommend. If just the information, if you want the information because it's an interesting book for you, of course that's fine. But in order to improve your accent, in order to improve your English, I recommend stay with native speakers, because it's probably hard for you as a learner to judge, is this person's English really good or not? Are they making a lot of mistakes? Is their accent bad? It's just better to focus on native speakers, I think, in general. So, like, for example, if I'm going to listen to Spanish, I want to listen to a native speaker of Spanish. I'm going to listen to someone from Spain or Mexico or Colombia. I'm not going to listen to a Canadian or a British person. Even though they might be quite fluent, I'm just not going to do it. Okay, I think we're about finished. This is your last chance. If you've got a question or comment, now's the time. Sanatana Dharma. Oh, that would be a good book. Tanma Acharya's book. Maybe I'll do that in the future. Oh, that's nice. Ozma says, I trust your choices. I'm excited to start no matter what the book, because you make it interesting. Oh, you make it in a wonderful way. Oh, thank you. That's what I try to do, try to make it interesting. And that's important. I only choose books that I'm interested in. That's why. If I think the book is boring, then I will discuss it in a boring way, obviously. So there's no point. So that's why it is important, kind of, not only am I interested in the book, but just my mood. Like right now, honestly, I think I'm not in the mood for another really depressing book about the horrible propaganda and mind control. There's already too much of it happening right now. I see it every day, everywhere. I don't think I feel like focusing on that right now. We'll see. Maybe something a little more energizing. Uplifting, we say. Uplifting means lifts you up, brings up your mood, brings up your feeling. I think it might be better. Better for me, at least. Okay. All right, I'll do one more and we're done. Dune, says Mateus. Dune is a great story, very interesting. But it's, again, it's very long, very, very complicated. Like the movies suck, but the book is actually excellent. And but it's too complex and too long to do as a YouTube book club. It's just we need something much simpler and much shorter. I'd recommend the book, though. It's a very interesting book. It's the same problem with Lord of the Rings. These are some of my favorite books. The Hobbit we did, because The Hobbit is a simple story. But Lord of the Rings, the whole thing is 3 long books. It's pretty complex. The language in it is not easy at all, quite advanced. I think it's too much for us to do, even though I'm quite a fan of Lord of the Rings. So we'll see. Sukrat says, what about The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle? That's a good one. Yep, we could do that, but although that's nonfiction. Vladislav says Sanatana Dharma is a good one also, but it's nonfiction. So if we stick with our pattern, I'll do a fiction book. We'll see. Oh, Annie says, what about the Dune 2020 movie? I don't know. I'm talking about the old Dune movie. I didn't like it. I thought it was terrible. I'm guessing the new one will be bad too. In fact, I know it's going to be bad because they're putting all this left-wing social justice nonsense into it. They changed the characters, right? Some of the male characters they changed to a woman, and they're doing all that normal Hollywood bullshit. So they're going to destroy this story. I'm sure it sucks. Like everything from Hollywood sucks now. But read the book. It's a really great book. It's probably advanced and challenging, but really good. I enjoyed it quite a lot when I read it. Tanushka White, thank you very much. Okay, then. So just to remind you of today's topic that we started in the beginning. You don't have to be great. You don't have to be perfect, right? Good is good enough. Just think about this in your life. I think the main thing is you can look at different areas in your life and see, like, is there any area where you are getting too stressed out? You're too worried about failing. You're too much pressure to get better, to be really, really good, to be great. If yes, if there is some area like this, try to change your attitude, change your belief, change your goal to just be good enough, not to be great, not to be excellent, just to be good enough. This will help you enjoy the activity more, or enjoy that part of your life more, and actually might help you get better success, because when you enjoy something, you want to do it more, and you actually improve more. All right, then. As always, join my VIP program at effortlessenglishclub.com. Commit, don't quit. effortlessenglishclub.com. Bye for now.